Hello everyone, welcome to the deep dive. It is Wednesday the 22nd of January. I'm joined by Josh Williams for this one where we'll be discussing Liverpool's squad depth. I think it's probably a week or so in the making, this show at the moment. We did a big episode on Harvey Elliott last week. Great to see in the time between the last episode and this episode that he's really stepped up, I suppose, and been given a bit of an opportunity, albeit he never made that start last night, but still had an impact off the bench in both games, actually, the weekend's game against Brentford and in last night's Champions League game against Lille. So we wanted to discuss Liverpool's squad depth. Obviously 2 goals by Nunez, a substitute against Brentford, pre-assist and assist from Harvey Elliott in that game as well. Nottingham Forest, the result was decided by Jota, was it?
Jota, yeah.
Jota and Timakash.
Timakash gets the corner.
Both coming off the bench and getting the deciding goal for us there. Obviously that one just to draw the game. And a late winner from Harvey Elliott last night as well, another substitute. So the last 3 games, the result has been decided by Liverpool substitutes, when I think that wasn't the case earlier on in the season, because I think the results were probably pretty much wrapped up. So yeah, I think it's an interesting sort of jumping off point to this topic. I think it's pretty universally agreed outside of Liverpool's fan base that Liverpool have got the best squad in the country.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, outside of Liverpool's fan base, because, you know, notoriously every single fan base thinks that they've got tons of holes that need to be addressed and things like that, and Liverpool have their own, you know, 1 or 2, but
and we'll discuss them on this show, by the way, as well.
But it's normal to have voids, though. I wrote a piece on this recently. You know, you got a bit. Remember when Manchester City hit 100 points? 100 points, mate. It's been done once, and that was by them. They had Fabian Delph at left back. You know, so it's normal to have voids, but I think Liverpool have got the fewest. I think Liverpool have got the deepest squad, and some of Liverpool's like third strings start for some of the Premier League teams we've faced recently. Like I said recently, I can't remember what podcast it was on, that all of the 5 subs we bring on against Brentford probably start for Brentford. You know, our third string at the minute is arguably Harvey Elliott by the looks of things. Wataru Endo. When everyone's fit, Kwanzaa, you could argue maybe is a third string at the moment. They're all Premier League quality players though, so finally benefiting from this depth. And I think you do usually benefit around this time of the season, where, you know, you get just past the halfway point, you've had the Christmas period, it's freezing cold, you know, that sort of thing where you can bring in some fresh legs.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to bring up some things that people have said actually as well. Thomas Frank, obviously, not actually specifically talking about the squad, but he did say that they're the best team in the world, a level above City and Arsenal. Richard Jolly of the Irish Independent wrote that Arne Slot and Liverpool are sitting pretty with the best squad in Europe. And Ashley Williams on Match of the Day at the weekend said, right now, Liverpool have the strongest squad and I think they'll win the league. And, you know,
see what Arteta said as well.
What did he say? I can't remember.
So he obviously drew to all against Villa, and I think he got asked about the Liverpool game after it, and he basically said they could introduce players to impact the game and impact the results. With us, it had the opposite effect. I think he brought on Sterling, but I don't know who else he brought on, and obviously the game ends up getting away from him in the final 20 because he can't freshen it up really. They have got injuries, but he's also proved over the past couple of years to be a manager who's a bit reluctant to use anyone beyond his first 12 or 13. So he's another one you can probably throw in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because actually Sterling was one of those guys that they brought in to provide depth. So, you know, for every transfer that goes well, not every transfer quite works like that, doesn't it? In fact, it's about 50-50 hit rate, isn't it, on whether transfer is successful or not, according to Ian Graham in his book anyway. So, yeah, really interesting. So let's look at some of the options then. We'll sort of go through it grouping by grouping. Goalkeeper, I think probably don't need to spend too long on this. We've got the best goalkeeper in the world, albeit maybe not in the best form at the moment since coming back, and a really good goalkeeper who can step in when Alisson is injured, in Creed and Kelleher.
Yeah, and you know what? Even Jaros is a good goalkeeper, mate. I was speaking recently with a mate and we were talking about, like, say for example, Ipswich. Ipswich bought Mjorch in the summer. I think he's largely been pretty bad, to be fair. They should have just bought Jaros. or they could buy Yaros now and he'd be enough. I think Yaros could play at Premier League level, probably lower end of the
like
table.
Tottenham for Kinski.
Yeah, probably lower end of the table. Like, but it's
Manchester United.
Well, I don't know how harsh are we going to be on Onana. Do you think he's terrible? Do you?
Well, someone said to me, I actually think he's an alright shot stopper at times, but he does make massive fuck ups.
Let's have a look at his number,
Let's have a look. He does make some massive fuck ups. That one at the weekend.
Yeah, he does.
Someone said
Hugo Lloris was like that, you know.
Yeah,
Hugo Lloris was a really good shot stopper, but would almost still level out. Well, not fully level out, but level out to an extent because he gave you away so many freebies. I mean, you like give away the odd freebie as well, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And someone said to us at the weekend, like, it's like having a hologram in goal. I was like, honestly, if a hologram was in goal, that goal doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't hit Onana and goes through into a place where there's no danger whatsoever. What were his numbers like for you then?
So, since 2018-19, so the season in which Liverpool won the Champions League, in league competitions, he's plus 10.6 goals.
Yeah, I've got that on the screen now so we can show them.
Yeah, so he's overperformed by about 11 goals in comparison to the ordinary goalkeeper. So that's not bad, to be fair to him. That his shot stopping's all right, and his distribution feels like it should be good, but I'm not sure it is. I think he's a bit mad sometimes. His decision making's a bit crazy, isn't it?
So does Yaros start?
No. I'd start on Onana. Sorry. But it's a matter of time before Liverpool have 4 genuine Premier League level goalkeepers. Chelsea have got 400 and none of them are Premier League level.
That's a good point, well presented.
It's interesting that we're building up a lot of depth in that department, and you know, if you want to raise money, sell a few goalkeepers, you won't even realise it, and you've made 50 million plus.
Okay, before we get into the defence, I wanted to ask you a question about Liverpool's out of contract players. I don't want to lead you too much in this, but what the fact that those contracts not being signed, could that have an impact on this January transfer window?
I would lean towards no. If they were confirmed as leaving, then potentially yes. But I think Virgil especially, I'll be very, very, very surprised if Virgil leaves. So I think you're all right there. But with Trent, I honestly don't even know if he's made his mind up yet. What do you think's going on with the Trent thing? It's hard, isn't it? I
don't think he's going to be a Liverpool player next season, and I think Salah and Van Dijk are.
But the thing is as well, if you want to get his replacement now, and you want to shore that up ahead of 2026 or whatever, the immediate talking point if Liverpool go and sign a right back is going to be Trent's gone then, and how that could impact the atmosphere around the club and things like that, especially if it doesn't just come out and go, yeah, I'm leaving. If it's still left in the open air, but we go and sign a right back, it won't go down well. So that's got to be carefully managed, I think. I
think you're right. Where I sort of think, and it's why I didn't lead you actually, because I think I get a better answer from it. I think that if they're unsure that Virgil's going to sign, they're unsure that Trent's going to sign, and they're unsure that Mo's going to sign. Let's say I think Liverpool, one area of the team that can absolutely be upgraded upon, first team, no questions asked for me, is the left back position.
I agree.
Now, if Liverpool were to sign a left back right now and commit quite a bit of dough to it potentially, or try and get Kirkers in or whatever, you'd end up with 3 left backs who are all under contract. But you might have to buy a right back at some point, and you might have to buy a right winger, and you might have to buy a centre back. I think the indecision has maybe cost Liverpool in the January transfer window, because you want to plan for the summer with your January transfer windows as much as you want a player coming in. And I just wonder whether Liverpool need to know what they've got to do in the summer, because it might be less of a priority left back. I don't think it would be, but it might be to them if they've got to sign 3 other first team players at the same point, because you'd have new left back, new centre back, new right back, new right winger, potentially a new centre forward. That's 5. 5 things, half a team in one summer transfer window.
Yeah, the thing is Richard Hughes though will know a lot more than we do. So you'd like to think even if a deal hasn't been signed yet, you'd like to think he's got an angle on the direction you're going in, type thing. Another interesting line with that is the Canate thing. You know, have you seen that this week?
New contract.
Yeah, where he said, like, have I signed it yet? That's another conversation, I think he said, or something. You know, that's concerning, obviously. So, I agree. I know what you're saying. I do think it has an impact a bit. But I think by now, surely Hughes would have some kind of gauge on who's going to stay and who isn't going to stay. And let's say Salah and Virgil stay, which I think will happen. Not sure about Trent, but if that happens, you can still go and get your left back. You go and get a right back. And depending on whether there's a market for Nunez, you go and swap that and get another player in or something. That's not that much business. You know, he's used to doing far more business for a team like Bournemouth, who have got constant outs. You know, if someone performs well for Bournemouth, to get bought by a bigger club, you then got to replace that player. So Liverpool are in a position where they're already, by the looks of it, title-winning level, and they don't need to do a great deal of surgery to the squad. They can just be fine-tuning. So I think it's nice to have contingency plans in place already. Ideally, the replacements for everyone would already be in the squad, but I don't think it's the worst position to be in. And as I said, Hughes will know more about where we're going with each contract.
Can I ask you then, is it not true that Hughes at Bournemouth might be picking from a slightly bigger pool of players in terms of Liverpool probably need world class, if not very close to?
Well, someone asked me recently about you know, the jobs difference type thing versus Bournemouth. I think it would be easier, personally. I think he's got an easier job now versus the job he had at Bournemouth. Because
is that identifying or signing? Or both? Because I think identifying them's easier. Signing them's probably harder.
Well, the idea of signing any player is to improve your current team. That's literally number one, top of the pile. We are buying this player to improve the squad. But if you're Bournemouth, I think gauging who's good enough and who isn't, who might make you worse and all that, I think that's quite difficult if you're the level of Bournemouth. Whereas if you're Liverpool, I think it's really easy to, not easy, but like I think it's pretty simple to just kind of look at the market and think, not Liverpool level. And given that, if yes, the pool is smaller, but at least it's kind of like, you know, there's a great degree of certainty in there that, like, he's good enough, he's not. Whoever's in this tiny little pool, we're interested in them all. You know, that sort of thing. So there's going to be an adjustment period in there for him, but I think he would rather this position now rather than being in Bournemouth's position whereby Semenyo could get poached this summer, Kerkez could get poached. Now they've already got replacements in, to be fair, in Julio Soler, is it? Yeah. Huijsen's getting looked at by people, you know, so
there's a lot of churn there, is what you're saying.
With Liverpool, Liverpool only sell a player if they want to sell him. That's not the case if you're Bournemouth. So I think he'd rather be in the spot that he's in now, even though it looks at the moment like we've got a few fires to put out.
Okay, so let's look at them then. Right back, currently at the moment. In fact, before we do that, me and you were in a coffee shop with two of our friends the other day, and there was a question asked about the left back. We were talking about it, obviously no cameras, just mates talking around the table. And one of our friends, oh man, it just sunk. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. You could have blended that.
One of our friends said that Liverpool need, and was adamant that Liverpool needed a new left back to win the league this season, weren't they?
Yeah. And I disagree on that. But to be fair, the person who said that is not the only one to say. I've seen Jamie Carragher say it. I personally disagree, and the reason I disagree is because, let's have a look at the league table very quickly. The position that we're currently in, what?
Nothing.
The position that we're currently in is very, very healthy. We're currently on 50 points from 21 games. I think we're on course for about, is it 90?
It was 89 or 90, I think, was it? Or 91 maybe?
I'll check the Opta predict it'll give us an insight. What I'm getting at is Liverpool's current level and Liverpool's current direction. Liverpool's current luxury position of being 6 points ahead of second, I think it's 6 points with a game in hand, is despite that left back issue. So we've accumulated this points total and we're going in this direction despite this weakness that we've got. So if we've already been title winning level, we can continue to be title winning level for the next 17 games and win the league without this new left back. I do definitely think we need a new left back this year, and I would absolutely get one in the summer.
I'm agreeing 100% with that.
But if we don't get one this month,
Liverpool are good enough to win the league.
100%.
And I suppose that Liverpool are good enough to win this league, and I sort of highlight this league because would they have been good enough to go toe-to-toe with City 2 years ago? Maybe not. But you can only win the league you're playing in that season, and it changes every season as to the quality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, if Liverpool were going against a behemoth that could string 15 wins together, I would be adamant that Liverpool do absolutely need to sign a left back, but we're not. We're going against a faltering Arsenal side, and a really poo Manchester City side.
So Opta's predictor, we'll avoid using the word supercomputer. Never goes down well after it. But Opta's predictor has Liverpool.
Where are you at here? Because I'm on the season simulation. Just so I can show it.
It's probably the same, I'm assuming.
No, mine's a percentage of winning. You see?
Is it 92.8?
No, it's 92% chance of winning the league on my.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
It's not points.
Well, I've got the points as well, but yours is fine. So Opta reckons Liverpool are going to win the season on about 87 points. It reckons Arsenal are going to win the season on about 77 points. So a 10-point gap between the two sides. And as you can see there, based on Chris's screen, according Opta reckons Liverpool are 92.8% on to win the Premier League. And again, crucially, that's with our current squad as it is right now. And there's teams in the league, by the way, who've got much bigger needs than us, far more holes and things like that, and they haven't moved yet. Arsenal, Man United, for different reasons, and they haven't moved because it is a tricky market. Man United haven't got the finances at the moment. They're trying to sell their own academy products and things like that, but it's not a case of Liverpool have to do business to win this league.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and try and maybe put forward some views that don't normally get talked about on this channel, maybe, put myself into somebody else's sort of shoes. Now, they might say, in this case, will say to you, but what if Arsenal do sign someone and they close the gap? Surely Liverpool should be signing someone to make sure that gap doesn't get closed.
Well, it depends who Arsenal are signing, really.
If they sign a centre forward.
Again, though, who? Like, what level are we talking about?
A top class centre forward, number 9.
Someone like Osman or someone like that. Sesko. To get a link with.
Okay, yeah.
Get a link with people like that. I mean, I'm assuming that would benefit them, but I don't think we should be reacting according to Arsenal, really. I think if Arsenal go and sign someone like that, I don't think that should then force Liverpool to go and sign a left back or something. I think Liverpool should just do Liverpool. I haven't got the luxury to do that because we're 6 points ahead with a game in hand. So yeah, that would be my stance on that. What about you? I'm assuming it'll make everyone worry, though. Obviously, I mean,
I don't
wouldn't go down well.
Yeah, I think it would, and quite rightfully so. I'm just trying to work it out now. So Arsenal could get. Have they got 16 games left? 22.
Yeah, 16.
16 games. So they could get another 48 points, which would put them on 93. And that's winning every game.
That's winning every game.
I'm not sure a striker allows them to win every single game. But I do think it would, if that was the case and you knew that Arsenal were going to get that many points from now and then, I would be risking it. I would be like, shit, we've got to do something.
I think this season, right?
But I don't think that's going to happen.
I think Arsenal's biggest problem this season has not necessarily been the lack of a striker. I think it's the injuries. The injuries are the biggest thing, mate. Honestly, if you could say to me now, Liverpool will keep everyone fit for the rest of the season, but you won't sign anyone. I would bite your hand off, honestly, because that's the main thing. I think Arsenal's problem this season, I know for some reason there's this narrative in the Liverpool fan base that Arsenal haven't had injuries. They have. Ben White has missed most of the season.
And he's massive for that right-hand side, with the Odegaard and Saka.
Yeah,
They've also both been injured.
Exactly. Odegaard out for something like 7 or 8 Premier League games. Saka has been out since around Christmas, and he's going to be out for another few months. So Saliba, for example, is out at the moment. I think Gabriel missed about 4 games in a row or something like that. These are just very important players for them, and players who've delivered for them for a good few years now. Liverpool, we haven't really had those big key pillar injuries, apart from Alisson, which we brought Kelleher in, and that's where the depth comes in. And you could argue Jota, but we got six top forwards really. So again, we absorbed the Jota loss quite well. But if we haven't, Salah's been fit all season, Van Dijk's been fit all season, Gravenberch's been fit all season. You could argue those players are like kind of irreplaceable at the moment, positionally and things like that. I think Trent has been fit for the large majority of the season as well. That's what it comes down to ultimately. So I think if Arsenal get a striker in, I'm sure he'd benefit them. But the bottom line is that they have, for me, too many key pillars out.
Yeah, and the other thing
to go and win. What was that? 48 points in a row or something.
16 games.
16 games.
Winning every single one. And I think the other point of that is, we've only got to play Arsenal once.
And we got them at Anfield.
So even if they get better, we can afford to lose at Anfield to Arsenal. And as long as we keep doing what we've been doing, the likelihood is, we might win the league.
Yeah.
I'll say might, but you know what I mean. It is one of those things. And in terms of probability, it's very, very high at the moment. Okay, centre-halves, then I think there's question marks, isn't there, obviously, over Ibu's injuries, injury history, Joe Gomez's injury history. I think Kwanzaa's not had as good a season this season as last season. But right now, we are muddling through.
Yeah. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with that department, to be fair, because it annoys me that we've got 3 for this side and 1 for this side, but the 1 never misses a game, and the 3 are just, it's your turn this week, and then they just keep swapping. Fit? Yeah, exactly. They
put
keep
your hand up, places, you can play. It's been the same with Salah though. It's what happens when you get world-class players who are available all the time.
Yeah, I know.
You don't get to carry someone else in those positions.
I know, yeah. It is frustrating, but I think, moving forward, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that. But I think for the rest of the season, I almost think you can throw Endo in there as well. By the way,
yeah.
For the remainder of the season, I think you can do a job in there. So, if we're specifically talking about depth now for the next, 4 or 5 months, I think we've got enough touch wood to get through without being punished. We've got 4.5 centre-halves, really. Is that Phillips still at the club as well? No.
I don't have a clue.
No, I don't.
What I will say is that we know that Ibu is playing through pain at the moment and taking injections pretty much, which isn't a good situation for someone with his injury history.
No, it's not. No.
Moving on then, obviously we discussed the left-back position. I think we're both in agreement that Liverpool need to sign a new left-back, but probably for us anyway in the summer. In terms of the midfield, you've got Ryan Gravenberch really for this spot at the moment. Alexis McAllister can spell him, of course. You've got Curtis Jones, Alexis McAllister, Dom Szoboszlai, Harvey Elliott. We're pretty well stocked in that department. Endo, of course, as well. You still feel the need for that sort of metronome in the middle of the park?
Yeah, I still like the idea of signing a midfielder who can do these two. Not necessarily this. I think we're all right here for now. But a midfielder that can specifically do this when Gravenberch needs a break, and if Gravenberch's fine, he can also get minutes here. A really technical, comfortable receiving the ball under pressure, good at playing through the thirds, that sort of midfielder. But given Gravenberch's rise and McAllister's mainstay, Szoboszlai, Elliott needs minutes, Jones is in and around it, I think we can probably afford now to, rather than going and getting a Zubimendi, who's really established and everyone wants him, and maybe we can go and get a bit more of a project in there. Someone who's closer to the age of 21, someone who hasn't been on the scene for too long but has the raw materials to evolve and be really good by the age of 25 or something. I don't know if I've said them on here before, but Angelo Stiller is a good example. He replaced Endo at Stuttgart and has been doing a good job in there since. He's German, left-footed, which we always like. 6 foot, so he's a decent size. He's 23, 24 in April. Hasn't really been on the scene for too long, despite being 23. He was at Hoffenheim up until we bought Endo, and then Stuttgart bought him from Hoffenheim. He was originally part of Bayern Munich's academy, but left to join Hoffenheim. He's not like special. he's not got any stardust or anything like that, but sixers don't usually. He just keeps things ticking over, makes good decisions, receives the ball nicely, never ever seems rushed. So getting someone like him in, now that we've got an established midfield, I think he could get minutes and do a job on that. So, but that's just an example. Like, so still an interested in a midfielder for me, but not necessarily one that puts Gravenberch on the bench. I wouldn't want to be doing that. Like,
no, I don't think anyone wants to be doing that at the moment, do they? Okay, front players then. I think this is really interesting, actually. Do you know who the top 5 for Liverpool in all competitions this season, ranked in terms of goal and assists, are?
All comps.
All comps.
Want me to guess, do you?
Yeah.
Salah.
Yeah, number 1.
Gakpo.
Number 2.
Is he? Can you confirm
that? I'm pretty certain he's number 2, and I will confirm it now. Gakpo number 2.
Diaz.
Number 3.
Jota.
Joint number 5. Or joint number 4, sorry.
So there's one more. Soboslai?
No.
Go on.
Darwin.
Is it Nunez, yeah?
So,
right.
As you can see according to my screen, Mo Salah has 39 goals and assists so far this season.
In January.
16 for Cody Gakpo, 14 for Luis Diaz, 10 each for Nunez and Jota. That's really interesting to me, because that is 5 of our front 6.
Seriously healthy, that, yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. When you think of it like that, it's fucking boss, that, isn't it?
Yeah, output.
5 of our front 6, and the 6th player who isn't up there is Federico Chiesa, who's just starting now to get into the side.
I think we're seeing these little cameos of Chiesa. We're seeing a player who would be posting those numbers, because he's another one who's just really busy, electric in the final third. But you get a lot of forwards, right? They do my head in, to be honest. You get a lot of forwards who look pleasing on the eye, but don't actually deliver with product.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they are just so pointless, because they're playing in the final third. If you're playing in the final third, you have one job, and it is to impact goal scoring, whether you're creating or you're scoring them yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate job of any forward. And Liverpool, I think, have been brilliant over the past few years at signing forwards who don't do so much of the fluffy stuff, but they just kill you with product. I think Rodri recently described Salah as a knife. Said he's not the most skillful, but he's like a knife, as in when he's involved, he just scores or assists, and that's kind of it. That's what you want from forward. That's a forward for me.
Yeah.
And Liverpool have been brilliant at getting them.
And just in terms of trying to find where Chiesa is, he has 1 goal, 1 assist in 188 minutes.
How many shots?
He has...
Saw this recently.
It's probably about 9. I reckon he's had 4 or something.
It's more than 9.
Really?
Yeah. In the game,
he's had 4 against Accrington Stanley that I can think of. 2 last night that I can think of. So there's 6. So I'm guessing now.
Let's have a look. He hasn't played that much, obviously. Let's have a look.
So if we just go to shots.
So he's on 15
shots.
15 shots
in
188 minutes for Liverpool. And some of them have been on target as well, which is decent. But on a per 90 basis, that's obviously just over 7 per 90.
That's like more than what Darwin Nunez was doing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's more than like, peak Ronaldo, peak Messi. Obviously, it's 188 minutes, so that has to come into it.
You're also coming into the games generally quite late when teams are probably a little bit more tired.
Yeah, so that will obviously not continue. But even last night, let's see what he did last night.
I think he had 2 last night.
He had 2 last night, yeah, but he had, to be fair, 6 of them were against Accrington Stanley. Okay. In 45 minutes against Accrington Stanley. But
6 in 45 minutes ain't bad.
Yeah, I know.
The opposition. But the interesting thing is we were talking about this off camera, weren't we? And we said, let's just stop this. This is actually a conversation that we should have around Chiesa. What was it you offered before the show?
I forgot.
You said you would argue that he gets more shots off per 90 than Cody Gakpo. And I think I retorted with, I agree with that. By the way, the stats do prove you right. But what I like is that, if you can just go onto the board for us, Aaron, here, please, mate. What I like is, this is the area here where Cody Gakpo's taking his shots from. It feels to me like Chiesa's taking them from this position. Certainly his 2 shots last night were, and also against Accrington Stanley, more here, although he does score from probably here, to be fair, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I like the fact that I think he's lost the yard of pace from when he was at his pomp. And I don't know whether that's a fitness thing or he's just not quite going as well right now, or his body's not quite there for him. But even without that, he gets into some bloody great positions.
Yeah. I think one thing when it comes to forwards is, what we don't like as they get older is when they lose a tiny bit of pace, sometimes they find it harder to basically get that separation between themselves and the defender so that they can get a shot away. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you can't get that separation, the defender just blocks the shot. So that's one thing you're always mindful of. But I think Chiesa, despite you suggesting that he's lost the guy the pace or whatever, I think he's arguably better at getting a shot away in the box than Diaz and Gakpo, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
I think we've seen evidence of that so far. He has been coming on late, which has to be factored in. But manipulating the situation so that he can get a shot away is a definite quality that you want in any striker. And he's shown that so far. And are you on his understat there, are you?
I am, yeah.
So if you go on his shot map, just for his career.
Just for his full career, okay. I had 2 seasons highlighted. Okay, there we go. You can see that right now.
So what I love about this shot map is, for a start, it's so varied in terms of spaces.
It's not weighted to the left-hand
exactly,
side.
Yeah, that's it. That's a better way of saying it. That's a better way of saying it, yeah. So that epitomises his ability to play on both sides and potentially through the middle as well. He's not limited regardless of what side he's playing on. If we showed Salah's shot map, it would be very right side heavy, obviously. But Chiesa's just that kind of forward where when he's involved, he will be busy for you. He'll be intent on delivering with product. There won't be any wasted energy doing I don't know, what was that swirl that Anthony did on the ball once? Remember that 40 yards from goal and he did this pirouette thing?
Yeah, madness.
None of that nonsense. Just literally goals, assists, shots, passes into the box. That's all you need from the forward, really. And I think Chiesa's the ultimate version of that. And I am really looking forward to the point where he can play, longer than half an hour at an intense level, because he looks to me like another Liverpool forward.
Yeah, who could maybe be the 6th in our goals and assists.
Yeah.
And that, I think...
double figures.
Yeah, I think... you're right. I think the 6 players that Liverpool have, and I did say this at the start of the show, Ashley Williams is saying Liverpool got the best squad and Richard Jolly, etc., etc. I think what they really mean is those front 6 players.
Yeah.
I think that's what, myopically, that's what people focus on.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're still in all 4 comps and could potentially go deeper. You know, we're going to skip around with the Champions League. I think we'll get to the final of the Carabao. We might not, you never know, but I think we have enough to get over the line there. The FA Cup, we've got Plymouth next, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you won't need a particularly strong outfit to get through in that round. And even if we do use a team of second strings, they're all good enough to start for Brentford, as what I said earlier. So, but when it comes to the scoring part, the goals, if you think of other teams and the rotation in there, like say for example Arsenal, what's Arsenal's second string attack look like? Over here, it's arguably
Trossard fills in a couple of spots.
Yeah, Trossard.
And that's it. To be fair, he's probably played better than Martinelli this season.
Gabriel Jesus maybe, but he's injured at the moment. Ethan Nwaneri is an option now, and we're missing someone. Sterling.
Well, let's look at Arsenal's.
Liverpool have 6 who are all like,
Top
you know,
sort.
still peak really, all peak age players really. Chiesa, you could argue, was over the hill a little bit, but I honestly think it's a fitness thing. When we've seen him play, he looks brilliant. He looks like his old self.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, their top 5 is interesting. Their top 5 is 5 of their players as well. So it's Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli, Jesus, and then it becomes Declan Rice.
What's their most for goals?
Kai Havertz, 13 in all comps.
Followed by
Saka, 9 all comps.
So we've already got 5 forwards on more than Saka in terms of goals, is that right?
Gakpo, Diaz, Salah.
Nunez and Jota.
I'm not sure in terms of goals.
I'm sure they're both on 10.
Where are they, yeah?
Double figures, I remember saying.
Right, let me just see. I'll just grab them up again. Oh, no, Chiesa, sorry, mate.
I'm pretty sure it was, you know.
Yeah.
But that sums up the firepower for me. Like,
it's 12 all comps. Salah, Diaz and Gakpo are the 3 in terms of goals.
What's Nunez and Jota on then?
8
Oh, okay.
is Jota and Nunez 6. They've got assists that got them to 10.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. Sound. Well, I still think we've got the firepower, mate, to basically dominate any competition, really. And you just can't really say that about other sides at the moment, including the heavyweights in the league, if you want, with the likes of City and Arsenal and teams like that.
Yeah, I think the other thing is Salah's on 22 goals. Saka's on 22 goal involvements. So that's not even 17 assists or something, whatever it is for Salah. That we don't even need to count. And he's got as many goals as Saka has got goal involvements, which is an interesting one, certainly for any Arsenal fan who's having the argument Saka's better than Salah. Check the numbers, my friends, because the numbers, they ain't a lying. So yeah, I think it's all about Liverpool squad depth. I think Liverpool are in a really healthy position to sort of wrap up and stuff now. I think, you know, we would like signings. I think every Liverpool fan would like signings, but that doesn't mean signings for signing's sake.
No.
And I do think there might be an issue. If you were to sign a left back right now, I would be happy with that. If Liverpool to sign Kirkes out now, I'd be like, fucking.
You know one thing I have thought about with that though, if we went and did that, this is just a side note thing that I haven't mentioned anywhere. How would you feel if you was Robertson though, and Tsimikas?
Really shitty. I don't think Liverpool should carry 3. I think one of them has to go.
But you would get rid of that extra one this month.
No, at the end of the season.
So you'd carry 3 for 6 months, yeah?
Yeah.
But I just mean, like...
Oh, it's shit.
Yeah, it wouldn't go down that well, I don't think.
Not in the squad.
And if you signed someone like, I don't know, Kirkes or something, I don't think it's so much of a pressing need that Kirkes comes in the next game. So there's a bedding-in period anyway. That's the thing with January signings. Like, very few of them can come in and impact you immediately.
Diaz did, didn't he?
Yeah, Diaz did, definitely. But with defenders especially, you know, Liverpool have got like a really experienced defensive line, offside line and things like that. We defend in a certain way and stuff. You, in the middle of a season, it'd be, when you're still in all 4 comps, it'd be difficult to get that into a new fullbacks game, you know, that quickly. So it could almost be a case of like you end up doing it, he doesn't even play that much anyway. until next season. So I don't know.
Which isn't a bad thing to have anyway. We saw that with Cody Gakpo, and we saw the benefits of that. We saw the benefits of having Diaz in that run in 21-22, and obviously I've just thought of another player who we signed in January to make a massive difference at defender, and his name was Virgil van Dijk.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Liverpool are the kings of January transfer moves, actually, I would say, out of all the Premier League sides, and Liverpool have got the best squad depth, I believe, right now, although centre-back's a bit of an issue for me at the moment, just because of the injuries. And left-back, I do think they need to do something for long-term. We're off to Redmen Plus now. We'll be doing a Q&A. We've got some really interesting questions, actually. I'll give you a little preview of one of them. Where and what is causing Liverpool to concede goals in the last month or two, considering it was really a position of strength for us for the first few months of the season? If Mo does leave, what kind of winger would work in slot system? Who could be the options? And yeah, there's a couple more there as well we're going to really get our teeth into, so I'm quite looking forward to that. redmenplus.com, or you can get it on the Redmen Plus video subscription on YouTube if you want to do it that way around. But redmenplus.com is the best place for it. Josh, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on the Deep Dive. Ta-ra.